everyone! Hello there, welcome back to another YouTube video. It's not been a while, that's the problem. I wasn't expecting to film a video this soon, but something in my mind kept saying you gotta film this. So it's finally time I give you guys a guide on how to buy your Super Red Arowanas, because I know there's a bunch of you out there looking and waiting to buy a Super Red Arowana and just looking for the perfect guide. Now, all things said, this isn't a perfect guide. This is a personal guide, and also it has a lot of facts, opinions from many aquarists, many experts, and myself. So without further ado, since this video is gonna be kinda long, let's get on to it. Now, when it comes to choosing your Super Red Arowana, the first thing I'd ask anyone to do is to be super nitpicky about it. Now, I've seen many hobbyists just walk into a fish store, see a fish that they like, or see a fish that's apparently gonna turn red, bring it home, put it in a tank like this, and after a year or two, look at that fish and be like, oh, this is not what I saw on TikTok, and then proceed to sell it for a price completely less than what he bought it for. Now, to avoid this from happening to you guys, I put this guide together. So this guide consists of my experience, my personal mistakes, and my lessons, and a lot of advice from expert hobbyists, expert fish keepers, and also just other people in the community overall. So by the time you're done with this video and you walk in to get your Super Red Arowana, you're gonna be a skibidi sigma alpha gamma male who knows everything about Super Red Arowanas and what it takes to choose them. Now, these Arowanas originate from Indonesia, and a quick Google search will show you that these guys are mainly caught in the Kapuas Hulu River Basin and also in Lake Sentara in West Kalimantan. Now, even though these fish are extremely endangered in these rivers, they are mostly found in captive breeding programs around Indonesia and around the world. So why do these Arowanas turn red? You see, the environment they originate from is called a blackwater environment. And in these blackwater environments, the tannin concentration in the water is extremely high. And I mean, off the charts high. So the water ends up turning a reddish, almost yellowish color. And for the Arowana, for him to avoid being the prey and for it to be able to catch prey, it needs to put on a camouflage, right? This is an instinct present in any animal in the animal kingdom. So thus, this Arowana puts on a bright red coloration. Now, even though there are many, and I mean many other reasons for him to turn this red, this is just one of the few. And the key thing we need to understand is if we want to put that red on an Arowana like this, we must be able to replicate that same environment. Well, you see, not all Arowanas are equal. Some Arowanas have superior genetics compared to the other. Genetics is the single variable factor that controls what the fish is going to look like in the end. So if the fish would get a 6-level shine, will the fish get a red helmet? Will the fish have an intense deep red coloration? What base color is the fish going to be? These are things controlled by genetics. And no matter how hard of a tanning schedule you put this fish in, if the fish does not have genetics, it's not going to put on whatever that coloration you expect this fish to have. So the first question many people ask when they go to buy an Arowana is, what farm is this Arowana from? Now, does the farm play an important role when it comes to choosing a fish? The answer to this is yes and no, which I will answer a bit later into the video. Now, does a good farm give you better odds of finding a fish with good genetics? Yes, it does. But these odds aren't always guaranteed. You see, at the end of the day, you are buying the fish and not the farm. So that is what you should keep in mind. Another thing people ask me is, do the breeds matter, right? In the current market, you can find Super Red, Chili Red, Blood Red. Do those breeds really matter? In a world where all these Arowanas are crossbred to get the best genetics, the differences have become less and less clear. So I'd say whether you get a Super Red or a Chili Red or even a Blood Red, it doesn't really matter. After all, you're not choosing the label, you're choosing your fish. Now, when a person buys a said Asian Arowana, the first thing they flex is the certificate. It's not even the fish. Dear children, the certificate exists to show that this fish has been traded legally. It is not your diploma or bachelor's degree. Alright? The certificate shows that this fish has been registered under the CITES and is sourced through a captive breeding program. So this certificate does not get you any status. It exists for legality. So stop flexing it around. Alright, it's finally time I teach you guys on how you guys can choose your Super Red Arowana. Now, the first point is the most important point, and everything boils down to personal preference. You see, human beings have a type, or they have a sense of preference. May it be the food they eat, may it be the people they hang out with, or may it even be the type of women you're into. So, in the end, if something doesn't suit our preference, then we say it's not our type. And the same applies with fish. So, let me tell you guys what type of women I am into. Hello? I can't see that. Alright. Cut. So, let me give you guys an example over here. Now, when I spent my 2 hours at Royal Aquarium picking out igris, I had to make sure that igris fit my criteria. And my criteria included a really nice spoon head, big paddle fins, and of course, a bulky body. Now, even though I didn't really care about what color igris had back then, my dad was on complete opposite terms. He did not care the slightest, and I don't mean the tad bit, about the fish's body features. What he cared about was color, right? He just wanted a fish that was red. At that point, I thought I might as well have bought and put a red parrot in here, right? But again, personal preference changes from person to person. So my taste in arowana might not be yours. So that's why my best advice would be for you guys to load up Google, to load up TikTok, search up red arowanas, and go through as much photos and videos as you can before you make a choice. And if you see an arowana that catches your eye, take a screenshot of it, and then when you do go to the fish shop, pull it up and compare it with the arowana that is next to you. That's the best form of selection I can give. So, when you are looking for your personal preference in arowana, here are some features that you guys should keep an eye out for. If you are looking to get an adult Super Red Arowana, then definitely keep an eye out for his red coloration. What kind of color does it have? Does it range from anywhere between a light orange to a deep red? Then you can take a look at its base color. What does it have? Does it have a green base, a metallic base, or even a blue base? And if you are looking to get something that's around 24 inches, then look at how thick the rim of the arowana scale is. Is it becoming block red, or has it stopped? And is there a definite beautiful rim and a base in the middle? So those are some things that you guys can keep an eye out for when you are looking for color. And of course, don't forget to take a look at its head and at its 6th level to see if there's any form of crossing on the top of the arowana, or if there is any sort of helmet, the red color pigmentation forming on the head of the arowana. Those are a few things to keep a lookout for when you are looking at the color of the fish. When it comes to looking at his features, you can definitely take a look at his fins. Usually Super Red Arowanas have fins that are larger than the average Asian arowana. Not only does this apply to the pectoral, but to any other fin, including the tail, dorsal and anal fin, this feature applies to. So, when it comes to a spoon head, assuming that this is the top level and this is the head of the fish, the point of conjunction between the top level and the head should slope down like this to show a clear difference in between the top level and the head. Now, not only does this boost the aesthetic of the arowana, in most cases, it even boosts the value depending on how deep that drop is. So, my final advice when it comes to this segment would be to study the type of arowana that you are into first. Look into as many adult fish as you can and look at the features you find attractive. When you understand this, then you can figure out whether you will be looking for these features in an adult fish or in a juvenile. And that is what I'll be talking about next. So, If you are planning on choosing an adult red arowana, this segment is for you. You see, choosing an adult is way easy and way less of a hassle compared to choosing a juvenile. But in return, you will be paying big bucks for it. So, the core idea here is that when you are getting an adult red arowana, you are no longer guessing how this arowana is going to look in the next 2 to 3 years. You're already getting a fish that has grown and has been groomed to a certain extent. With red arowanas, they're like fine wine. You see, the more they grow, the more they age, the more red coloration they put on. And in that sense, does a farm really matter? Well, not anymore. You see, as much as the certificate matters, the farm really doesn't. Because you're no longer buying potential, you're buying a finished result. So, here are a few things that you guys can keep an eye out for. First thing is coloration. If this fish is anywhere from 18 to 20 inches and does not show even a hint of red coloration, that's a red flag. Alright? Coloration is very important for a fish of that age. Next up, do a small health checkup. Check if the fish has any drop bite, if the fish has any gill curl, any fin damage, or even barbel damage, or if he's even missing a few scales. Now, even those scales grow back, it's good to keep an eye out for things like that to see if the fish is in good condition. And one thing I definitely didn't look out for and became a huge mistake of mine was PLJ. I kind of see protruding lower jaw in red arowanas to be a bit of a common feature. I've seen it in multiple red arowanas. I'm not blaming the breed or the farm. It's just something I see. It's a pretty common feature. So even with Aka, he had a massive protruding lower jaw. So whenever you are looking for an adult arowana, just take a look at it from multiple angles, especially at the jaw, to see and understand if this fish has protruding lower jaw or not. Now, if you are seriously going to spend big bucks on an adult Super Red Arowana, it might as be worth it. So I believe it's best for you guys to consider this advice, because at the end of the day, what you see is what you get. But what if you can't afford an arowana of such a price tag? Then the second segment of where we are choosing a juvenile Super Red Arowana is gonna be for you. So the true reality when it comes to choosing a juvenile Super Red Arowana is that you cannot 100% accurately predict the final body color or the body shape or even the features it would get as it grows into an adult. You see, a famous wise man by the name of my father said that a juvenile Super Red Arowana looks no different than a silver arowana, and I cannot really complain. But you see, even though visually it looks like a clean slate, it's a canvas that not only you but the arowana can paint on. That is, if my metaphors make any sense. But what I'm trying to say is, with a long term commitment, with water changes, feeding, a constant tanning schedule, and you spending time and patience on this fish, will get you the results that you deserve and you need. That is what differentiates a casual fish keeper and a serious fish keeper. So, when choosing a juvenile Super Red Arowana, the farm plays an important role, because at the end of the day, the farm is the one who's gonna decide what brooders are going to be bred together. And the more features a brooder has, the higher the genetic gene pool or the larger the genetic gene pool will be. So that means you have a higher chance of getting offspring that have better genetics. So here are a few things that you guys can keep an eye out for when choosing your juvenile Super Red Arowana. The first thing is to look at all the fins. This includes all the tail, dorsal, anal, and pectoral fins to see if there's any hint or even a hue of red present. This also applies to the lips and the barbel, because a good Super Red Arowana would show good red coloration on those areas. Now, a few other things to keep your eyes open for is a blue color hue on its body, a development of an early spoon head, and of course, his swimming style, where he swims with his fins wide stretched, open, and comfortably in his domain. So that would mean a confidently swimming fish. because these are the features that develop down the line. Now, even though in my case, Igris did not show any red coloration on its tail, anal, dorsal, or pectoral fins, or any red coloration towards its barbels or lips, I still decided to stick with him because of his early spoonhead development, the light blue hue on its body, and those beautiful fins on him. He did not have a tall body shape at all when I decided to choose him. I purely chose him out of instinct, and I just saw him to have better looking features than the rest of the bunch. It's all about matching that baby to its ideal adult vision that you have in your head. So when it comes to selecting a juvenile arowana, this process is something that you cannot rush. Separate each fish into individual tanks and observe them individually. When I chose Igris, I spent a total of 2 hours or so going through a batch of 40 to 50 fish just to select Igris. So that is the type of patience, understanding, and observation that you guys should develop if you guys are truly serious on owning one of the best Super Red Arowanas. So here are a few advanced observations that you guys can make. First of all, if you are into fish with paddle fins or long fins like me, look how the arowana handles its fins. Does it always have it tucked against its body? Or is it parallel to its body? Or if it's facing perpendicularly downwards from its body? So take a look into that. If you are expecting a fish to have paddle fins or even long fins, majority of the time those fins should face away from the body downwards, perpendicularly downwards. Another thing you can look out for is its swimming behavior. How does it swim? Is it swimming in a very lousy pattern, or is it swimming graciously, elegantly, or majestically? All three methods have different ways of swimming. You just gotta watch and observe. I find Igris to swim sometimes graciously, sometimes majestically, and sometimes aggressively, depending on the situation he is. Now, is there a keen way to understand that? No. But I believe, something that I believe is every arowana has an aura. And you can actually identify what that aura is from the way he swims. Now, could I be Delulu? I might be. But this is something that I learned from keeping more than 20 arowanas in my lifetime. And finally, another advanced observation that you guys can take is its body shape or its body height. Some fish that are going to have a bulkier body might represent a taller body height from the beginning itself. Now, you won't actually see this until you take two arowanas and compare them side to side. So this process also requires a little bit of comparing that needs to be done. So if you do have the time to do that, that's something else you can check up on as well. So in the end, when it comes to choosing your juvenile Super Red Arowana, there are no guarantees that it's going to turn out block red or if it's going to have a metallic base. But a combination of smart choice and a good effort will definitely give you the best chance of achieving what you see or what you need in that arowana. So, in the end, to sum it all up, we talked about what it takes to select an adult Super Red Arowana and what it takes to select a juvenile Super Red Arowana. And the core message was that everything boils down to personal preference. So when you are choosing your Super Red Arowana, look out for your personal preferences. Maybe the colors, maybe the features, maybe the body types. Do your research, take your time, and do not rush into choosing your Super Red Arowana. In the end, you are not just getting a certificate, you are getting a fish. So take your time to understand what you need and to understand the fish. And in any case, if you guys feel like you guys need a bit of support, all my socials are linked down below. And if you actually text me through my socials, you guys will get my number. So give me a call, take me out, and I'll help you select your fish of your preference. And the least you guys can do is at least get me a drink. So be patient, enjoy this journey, and all the best in selecting your Super Red Arowana. SG out. Hello? Child? Stingray is doing freaky things. He's back at it again.